Welcome back to some SnowRunner and to Northport, Alaska. Today, we are going to take a look at the vehicles that you can find on this map, plus a little bit of an honorable mention going back to our previous video. As before, we are not going to look at upgrades, as there are several ways that you can get to those upgrades, but instead we are going to check out the vehicles kind of in their basic raw form that you get them the moment that you unlock them. It's going to take you a little bit of getting deep into the muck on the first map of Alaska before you can unlock the Royal BM-17. However, it is a decent vehicle for a first map, or for many people, the starter map. A lot of people go to Alaska straight up and don't return to Michigan. And as you can see, the power to weight ratio is very good, and it has decent fuel consumption, or decently low fuel consumption. It also comes standard with all-wheel drive, which is a beautiful thing, especially if you're new, especially if you haven't been driving across Michigan already and unlocking things there. You can hook up everything on it. It has all the additions that you can put on for customization, as such as the crane, flatbeds, that sort of thing. I found it to be a nice replacement, or to complement the starter trucks out of Michigan. It'll definitely give the Fleet Star a run for its money, and a lot of people enjoy it more than the Paystar, which is a truck that you don't unlock on the map, but that you purchase once you hit a certain level. If there was one thing I was gonna say about the Royal, it would be that once you race it up and you start hauling some of the little heavier things, it gets a little bit top heavy and a little bit wobbly. So you want to take it just slightly easier when you drive this thing around. It doesn't sit as flat on the ground or stable on the ground as many other trucks do, but it is definitely a solid truck. And I know many players that have told me that they are continuing to use this throughout their playthrough of the game, both here in Alaska and going back to the Michigan map. So yeah, all in all, it's going to be worth your time to dig yourself out there in the mud and find this thing. Get her home, trick her out, and add her to your fleet. The other vehicle that you're going to come across on the first Alaskan map is the Hummer H2. And it's a scout vehicle which is remarkably good at doing what it does, especially if you haven't learned the game yet and you tend to plow through a lot of things hoping to just get to the other side. In my opinion, it has a little bit too much juice for something that isn't really a military vehicle, but more so a suburban soccer mom truck. What they also have done, and this is the perplexing part, the standard tires on the H2 are the specialized Hummer H2 tires. And as you can see, they're considering them excellent on-road, off-road, and in mud. There are no other tires that I have found that can do that. Not even the tires that are in the same category, off-road, mud tires, anything. There's always a stat that you have to give up for another stat. You know, you'll have average road on-road capacity for good off-road, or great in the mud and terrible on the road. In this case, it's excellent across the board. Now, maybe it is so that when you are driving through downtown, blasting some Taylor Swift, you really need tires that can take you anywhere. The interesting thing, though, is this vehicle unlocks in Alaska. And as opposed to Michigan, Alaska actually have a decent amount of open roads, and those roads are covered in ice. Something the tires are not good at is ice, which makes me feel like this is the kind of vehicle that you jump over to Alaska, you unlock right away. It's pretty close to the start where you show up. You unlock the vehicle, and then you return to Michigan, and you utilize this as your scout vehicle in Michigan. This is really where the vehicle is going to shine, both with its on-road and off-road capabilities. Plus, you also have a much greater chance of finding a Starbucks in Michigan than in Alaska, where you can go and compare stories with the other suburban commandos. I said in the beginning that's going to be a little bit of a redemption for a vehicle, and if you had watched our previous video on Michigan, you know that the Chevy Kodiak didn't really have glowing reviews. It wasn't a vehicle that really fit into what the job was in Michigan or what other vehicles you already had access to in your fleet. Now, once you make it to Alaska, the upgrades for the Kodiak are going to start coming in because this is where they're located. And fully upgraded, it's not an absolutely abysmal vehicle anymore. It can hold its own. It still suffers from some of the issues. For example, it has the single axle. It does hang out a lot over the rear of that axle, making it understeer quite a bit. And more than likely, if you have already played through Michigan before you go to Alaska, this vehicle is not really going to all of a sudden become your main go-to vehicle. But if you want to mix it up and you already have it, it's definitely worth taking out, at least for a spin, and test out something different than your normal workhorses of you. Thank you for watching. What is your favorite vehicle so far in SnowRunner? Let us know in the comments below. If you want to see more videos like this, we still got the first map of Russia to go. Don't forget to subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you out there.